If you're gonna expose this professor, make sure that you have receipts. What? You have receipts? Footage of me lying? Oh, okay, wait, cut the camera, cut. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Raphael and I'm here to review Season 8, Episode 5 of The Real Housewives Who Got Caught Up in a Lie of Potomac. So we start the episode off with Ashley, Mia, and Giselle shopping for clothes for their trip to Texas. So you know that means that nobody's walking out with a decent outfit. I can already picture Giselle just going through the racks like, okay, I need to upstage Candace and Wendy because they bring their fashion game this season. Okay, I'm gonna buy this black furry sweater. I need something to match it. Let me see over here. Okay, this sparkly bikini, I'll wear it underneath my sweater. I'll buy these silver necklaces, this beanie, and I'll probably match this with my Uggs. Just looking a mismatch mess, right? So they started talking about Aneka and Wendy and their issues and Aneka's accusations towards Wendy's mother. And surprise, surprise, everybody believes Aneka. Giselle, surprisingly, she says, yeah, I mean, why would she make up such a crazy story like this? You know, clearly she's telling the truth. But Giselle, would you still believe Aneka if she was coming at Robin's mother this way and she was accusing her of doing X, Y, and Z? Or are you simply just believing her because it's Wendy's mother and she's connected to Wendy and you don't happen to like Wendy at the moment? Because I feel like Aneka could have said anything about Wendy's mother and you would have believed it. She could have sat there and told you, hey, Wendy's mother is a Powerpuff Girl, and you would have sat there like, yeah, I believe it. And then on top of that, she says, oh yeah, I was talking to Jamal about this and he doesn't like this whole situation. First of all, Giselle, why are you talking to Pastor Holy Whore and why do you want his input on this situation when he has nothing to do with it? And then she says, yeah, whatever's going on between Wendy and her mother is pure evil. Evil? Evil? Embezzle? Evil, Giselle, evil coming from you? That is funny. And then Ashley goes on to say, I believe Aneka because her intensity on the storytelling was just too strong. Why would she lie about it? And you see, Wendy, you finally got your answer that you wanted a couple of episodes ago when you sat down with Ashley and you told her, okay, we could start a new friendship between us, but I feel like you might backstab me when I least expected. And look, that's exactly what's happening here. She's taking Aneka's side. She barely even knows the woman, but she's only taking her side of the story because her storytelling skills are good. And Ashley, it's funny that you're so quick to believe Aneka and whatever she says when, you know, there has been so much evidence and proof of your husband doing this, this, and this all throughout this entire show. Yet you were just like, no, I need evidence. I don't know what you're talking about, but you're so quick to believe Aneka. Okay. So then Giselle, she was just like, oh yeah, Aneka, she's also a lawyer. So you know lawyers don't lie. First of all, Giselle, that's what lawyers do for their job. They're supposed to lie. You know, if there's two things that I learned from the show, How to Get Away with Murder, is one, don't fuck on a desk when the door is unlocked. And two, the truth doesn't matter as long as the evidence looks as chaotic as possible. It's about who's telling the better story. And as I'm trying to listen in on their conversation, I'm distracted by some of their choices that they're taking from the rack. I'm looking at their clothes like, yeah, no, Ashley, you're really gonna wear that to Texas? No, put that back on the rack. That's not a cute color. That looks awful. That's not gonna look good. Giselle? Yeah, of course. Mia, like, what are you doing? Like, let's leave this store and let's go to a TJ Maxx where they have nice clothes. But then we see, what's her name? Wendy. Speaking of nice clothes, we see Wendy and Eddie. They hop out the car to go on a lunch date and lie. They sit down and they start talking about Aneka, Ike, and this whole Facebook situation. And Wendy, you're not doing yourself any favors, especially with the way this episode ends, when in the confessional, the producer asked her, so, does Eddie and Ike, do they really not know each other? And Wendy, it took her like 5 hours to answer. She's like, well, you know, in college, you know, you know anybody, right? I mean, you just because you have a class with somebody for 2 seconds doesn't mean anything, right? Like maybe they do, maybe they don't. I mean, I'm not sure. I think they do, but not really. And I'm like, Wendy, stop the bullshitting and just say yes. Like, what is this? Again, the case for Wendy right now is not looking too good. We then see Aneka and her husband Ike heading out to this clinic to see what's going on with their pregnancy attempts. Aneka lets us know that in her culture, once you get married to somebody, your family expects you to get pregnant right away. You need to have a baby. Then we see it play out in a flashback because she calls her mother and her sister. Her sister was doing a little bit too much and being very demanding of Aneka by telling her, why are you not pregnant? You need to get pregnant. Where's the baby? Where's the baby? Your husband is going to leave you if you don't get pregnant. And that's a little bit too extreme to be demanding anything like that from your sister. Like, what if she doesn't even want to have kids? Are you going to disown her because of that? Or what if her body doesn't allow her to have children? Should her husband leave her because of that? Like, calm down, ladies. So then Aneka, she also goes on to say, yeah, the whole pickle situation, I wish I would have went about it a whole different way with Wendy, but I was caught up in the moment, and talking about shrines is either talking about death or bringing destruction to somebody else's life. And I've said it before that I do believe in stuff like this because we have our own version of this in the Latino community, and it's nothing to play around with. So her and her husband, they go in the doctor's office, and for a second, I thought I was watching a Lifetime movie because the doctor, he had Sleepy Charisse energy. Like, he walked in all nonchalant, like, hey, Aneka, you're the new housewife of the show? Oh, nice to meet you. I'm the doctor. Nice to meet you, husband. Let's see. Okay, what's going on here? According to my statistics and my information, how do I say this? Yeah, I mean, nothing's really going on here. It's just, your sperm level, your volume level is just very low, and that's about it. So, I'm like, absolutely not. If I was a Nneka, I would have told Ike, yeah, let's go find another doctor. He was just so laid back and relaxed and everything. I mean, I'm not expecting him to do cartwheels, but damn, give me some energy. And this goes back to the conversation that she had with her sister. Does she take into consideration that maybe Aneka can't get pregnant because of Ike's low volume sperm? Or does she just have to magically get pregnant on her own, somehow, some way? And can she also leave her husband if she can't get pregnant because of him? Like, is it a two-way street or is it just a one-way thing? Like, so then the doctor, he eventually just tells them, like, yeah, just keep trying. It's no biggie. Like, I'm gonna go on lunch. So then he walks out, and then we see a graphic of a bunch of sperm on the screen with Ike's face on it, and we really didn't have to see that. So then Ike, he tells Aneka, oh, we shouldn't even be here. I have a solution for all of this. We'll be fine. And then Aneka, she snaps on him, and she's like, well, if we shouldn't be here, maybe you should get out then. Stop talking. And I'm like, whoa, security. Obviously last week he was talking to her crazy, and now the other way around this week? Then we see Mia and Gordon heading out to see a therapist, and the therapist was really pretty. I wouldn't mind seeing her as a friend though for next season. So they sit down with her. She asks them, so what's going on between both of you? And Mia, she starts it off by saying, well, I mean, me and Gordon, we had a business and I was like a CEO, but I mean, he was like voted out by his family and now we have no funds or no money. So I'm not really sure what's going on between both of us. And I know the second that the therapist heard that they don't have funds, I know she was probably thinking, now wait a minute, how are they gonna pay for this therapy session? So then Mia, she goes on a little bit deeper with the story because now, according to her, they had a lawyer who was holding a share of the business for them on the side while they were finalizing paperwork. Eventually, he was supposed to give it back to them. They never heard of him. They got him disbarred from being a lawyer. And then trigger warning, he ends up himself. And I'm like, what? Like, where did that come from? Like, this whole story is just so twisted because the family, they vote him out the family business. They start losing all their money. They lost the house. And now a lawyer's life got lost in this whole mess. Like, Mia also hired a divorce lawyer because she didn't know the direction that her and Gordon were gonna go in because they have differences on everything, specifically how she doesn't want anybody in the family to end up like the lawyer, if something happens financially. Gordon, he's almost kind of like taking this whole situation like, okay, that's part of the business. We have to keep it moving. Our differences is what makes us work together. And no, Gordon, not everything is a transactional business deal. Mia does have feelings, but at the same time, I'm also looking at Mia like, is this really the reason why you hired the divorce lawyer? Or did you just see this whole situation as, when I first met Gordon, he had money, and yeah, I liked him too, but the money added something extra. Now you're probably looking at him like, oh, wait a minute, you don't have the same money that you used to have. I was probably blinded by the dollar signs. Maybe we should call it quits now, and maybe I should get with somebody else who could provide the lifestyle that I was accustomed to. I'm not saying that is what she's really feeling, but I don't know. So we get the first cast trip to Texas on the go, and everybody's arriving at the airport. Wendy looks really nice in that blue outfit that she had on, and I like the bob on her. It looks nice. Aneka, she shows up, and they sort of kind of greet each other like, hey, I know you call me a bitch, but hey. And everybody else shows up. Eventually, they're off to Texas. They land in Texas, and Ashley, her idea is to split everybody down the middle between two trucks based on their astrology sign. So in one car, we have Karen, Giselle, Aneka, and Ashley. And the other, we have Wendy, Candace, Mia, and Robin. And in that truck specifically, nobody is speaking to each other. Like, they're just riding to the hotel like, My astrology sign is Taurus, so I'll be in Karen's car. I'll be sitting right next to Giselle asking all the questions like, so, Giselle, at the season 5 reunion, when Monique read out Jamal's number, why did you say yes, that's his number? Why didn't you lie? You know, I still think about that moment every other week. Like, she really just sat there and Andy asked her, is that Jamal's number? And she looked at him like, yeah, that's his number. Like, so dumb, but you know, they're riding together. And Karen, like I said last week, nobody likes each other because nobody's speaking in the other car. In this car, they're slightly speaking to each other, but Karen, she's kind of like the glue. She is the glue that's still keeping this cast together. Without her, I'm not really sure what kind of show we'll be watching. It's already painful enough that everybody hates each other, but Karen, she's making some analogy about Robin and, you know, their issue. And she's like, you know, Robin, she's kind of like an apple pie. You know, I'm going to take a slice of her right now, but I'm not going to put it in my mouth. I'm going to save some in the refrigerator for later so we could talk it out. And I'm like, huh? Like, okay, Karen, whatever. So they get to the hotel, they go in this room to get some food and sit down for a second. And then we get a closer glimpse at what's next to the hotel. We look out the window and there's a construction site. I thought we were back in Potomac and that was Giselle's house. I'm like, what is this? Like, what kind of luxury is this, Ashley? You know, there's pickup trucks, dump trucks, there's rocks all over the place, there's dirt. You know, there's just a whole bunch of mess going on right next to the hotel. And this is what you expect us to live in? Like, oh, Velvet, show me around. Oh, a white refrigerator. Okay, everybody put your shoes on. Let's go find you a hotel. Like, what is this, Ashley? And then she rewards Robin by telling her, so, because of everything that you're going through right now, you're going to be able to sleep in the penthouse suite. And for what, Ashley? So she could have flashbacks of when Juan brought a hotel for the other girl? Okay. And speaking of Juan, actually, remember how I was keeping track of him last week, of how many episodes he was in so far? We have a new update. Hold on, let me get my chart because I need to update it. So he was here from episode 1 to 4 so far. Unfortunately, the streak ends here because he wasn't in episode 5, unfortunately. Wah, wah, wah. Maybe episode 6, maybe, but as of now, I'm very disappointed, Juan. So not only did you disappoint Robin, you disappointed me and the fans. Karen, Candace, and Wendy go by the pool to get some drinks, and Wendy looks really nice in that dress that she's wearing. They're asking her, so what's going on between you and Aneka as of now? She's like, I mean, it is what it is. She's just there. She's not bothering me. I'm just not going to speak to her for now, because then Aneka and Giselle, they come out, they sit next to Karen, and I'm telling you, if Karen wasn't the glue on this show, and if she was removed from the equation, I'm not really sure what kind of show we'll be watching, because they'll just be staring at each other like they wouldn't speak to each other. And she breaks the ice and she's like, you know, I need to speak on the elephant in the room between Candace and Giselle. Obviously, you know, me and Robin, we have issues going on between each other, but Candace and Giselle, I want both of you to speak out your issues and maybe resolve things. Giselle tells Candace that there's no reason for them to talk again moving forward after everything that Candace said to her at the reunion, again, as if Candace was just unprovoked. And she just said what she said last season just for no reason. Like, there was a reason why she said all of that, Giselle. And now Giselle, she's like, you know, me and my kids, our lives are in danger. And I'm like, in danger? In danger in what aspect? Like, okay, Giselle. And then on top of that, she says, you know, the whole situation between me and Chris and Candace last season, you know, when we were in the bedroom. And I'm like, wait a minute. A bedroom? I thought it was a dressing room or something. Now it's a bedroom? And then on top of that, she says, yeah, Chris made me go in the room with him. He made me close the door. And I'm like, wait a minute. So now you're just adding like different facts or different like scenarios to the story, when last season at the reunion, or last season in general, it was a whole different story. Now you're just twisting this whole thing to fit a different narrative. Like, which one is it? Was it a dressing room? Was it not a dressing room? And I wish that they would have played the flashback of what you said exactly, because I can't remember. You never said anything about he made you do anything. So, you know, and then Candace is very smart because she knows every single trick that Giselle is trying to throw out there. And she's like, look, Giselle, I know you, by not talking to me, you think that you're going to get rid of me. And she kind of broke the fourth wall, you know, because she was basically insinuating, by you not talking to me, you think that you're going to ice me out like you were trying to do with Monique. And you were kind of successful with that, even though they were going to bring her back next season. But no, I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still here. Could you imagine? But, it's just crazy because Giselle, that is her way of handling conflict. She wants to ice everybody out. She doesn't talk to you. And then she just feels that Bravo production, Andy, is just going to favor her, which I feel like they do. And they're just going to eliminate somebody. Like, I feel like if they have to give somebody the boot from this show next season to try to change things up, they'll get rid of Candace before they get rid of Giselle. Why? They probably feel like Giselle is like the face of the show. She's what's needed. And maybe she is. They're all needed to a certain capacity, except Robin. But I feel like at this point, Giselle, and I do like all of them in their own different ways, but Giselle, yeah, it's time for you to step down and to just exit the door, exit stage left with Robin and Juan, because yeah, you're like an anchor to the show, but in a negative aspect. Like, you're holding the show down. You're not letting them progress. You're not letting the show move forward. It's always gonna be the same cycle, the same mess with you, and we're never gonna get anywhere moving forward, especially with everybody not speaking to each other now. Like, and then we see Mia and Robin. They're having like a cute conversation, a cute walk around, the construction site. But to me, it was kind of distracting because they're trying to have a deep conversation. But meanwhile, they have to avoid like the boulders and shit. Like, wait a minute, there's a truck coming. And then as they're talking, I can't even hear them because the So then eventually they make their way back around the pool. They sit down and they want to discuss the issue between Aneka and Wendy. And Aneka, whoo, she had all the receipts and her monologue and her research paper, her thesis paper, her college paper. She had every single paper and research paper ready for Wendy, because they started explaining that whole situation again with the whole shrine, her mom. She's like, look, your mom called me on April, the 12th at 7 o'clock in the morning. It was cold outside. I remember I had scrambled eggs with some orange juice and bacon, and my husband was outside mowing the lawn. It was a nice little lovely Saturday. It was so cute. And I'm like, damn, Nick. She remembered every single detail to their conversation. I'm like, yeah, you need to relax. You really like... It starts with Aneka's in-law named Lebe, who's on again, off again friends with Ivy, who's Wendy's sister. Stick with me, stick with me. So Ivy called Lebe to let her know, hey, I don't like that girl that Aneka. She's trying to be a clout chaser. She's using my sister Wendy's name to try to get on the show, to try to be in the circle. Stop it, stop it immediately. So Lebe, she took that information and she took it over to Aneka. Aneka, she was like, wait, what are you talking about? I don't even know Wendy like that. Like, yeah, we known each other in passing, but that's it. I'm not trying to use her to get on the show. What is she talking about? So then that caused a whole snowball of effect, because now Wendy's mom, she's calling Aneka up. She's cursing her out. She's, talking about shrines, this, that, and the third. She doesn't want her to be on the show. And apparently now, allegedly, they all assume that it's because Wendy wants to be the only Nigerian person on this show. And it's insane to me. It's crazy, like, how this whole thing is just a whole completely twisted web. And I feel like at this point, we need Leve and Ivy and the mom to be on the show. Like, get rid of Charisse, get rid of Robin and Juan, and replace them with those 3 new housewives. Because this is just too much, because it's all she said. But... then it continues getting deeper, because Wendy was like, well, I mean, okay, I still don't know what you're talking about because I don't know Lebe like that. And then again, Aneka with the receipts and the thesis paper, she was like, well, actually, according to my note, here back in 1992, April 16 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you were wearing pink. And I believe you had on, you had on Gucci shoes and your hair was in a ponytail. I'm like, lady, you really need to stop. She was breaking down everything piece by piece by piece. I'm like, damn, you're like extremely pressed. She was like, well, Lady was at your daughter's event 3 years ago. And I'm like, now how do you remember that? Obviously, Lebe must have told Aneka, yeah, she does know of me because I was at so-and-so and so-and-so. And Wendy was like, huh? And then we see it in the flashback. The producers roll the footage, and then we see Wendy at the event from 3 years ago giving a beautiful speech to Lebe, who's right in front of her. And she was like, oh, you are the true definition of a Nigerian woman. Like, you represent like everything modern or whatever she said to my daughter. And I'm like, Wendy, yikes, I don't even know what to say. I feel lied to. I do. I feel betrayed. And Wendy, this just goes to show that you're full of shit. Like, I knew somebody was lying. I still don't fully believe NECA, but as of now, Yeah, NECA, she holds some type of credibility just because of that, because I just don't know. And then Wendy, she tried to clean this whole situation up on Twitter. She said that Lebe texted her and asked Wendy. She asked Wendy, Wendy, can I use your name at the doctor's office or whatever because I'm trying to get a BBL. Like what is this show anymore? She's trying to get a BBL, right? So she's trying to use Wendy's name as a referral. And then Lebe had messaged her and said, oh, somebody that I know or whatever, assuming that it's a NECA. She never said any names. You know, somebody wants to sit down with you. Or can me and you sit down because somebody wants to join the show or the producers are talking to her? But again, she never said anything about a NECA's name specifically. So we don't know. I'm not really sure what Wendy was getting at with these text messages. This whole thing is a mess, but Lebe, you're trying to use Wendy for a BBL. Wendy, you got it like that? That we could just drop your name and use you as a reference? Because I'll go now. But Wendy, you're coming off as a liar, and I really hope that you didn't want a NECA on the show just because you wanted to be the only Nigerian person on the show. Like, I hope that's not the case, but I don't know. It's looking in a NECA's direction as of now. And then from the preview, the sneak peek that I saw online, now next week, Wendy, she accuses a NECA of doing crack in Los Angeles. And I don't know where that comes from, but so far, yeah. Oh, this season is a mess, but let me know what you all thought about this whole entire episode and who do you believe as of now? Again, things could change. Next week, we might find out something different, but as of now, Wendy, it just can't believe this, but let me know what you all thought about this whole episode in the comments. Bye, everybody.